Pro definitely have a bigger game on their minds. Playing against Big very soon in the EU Minor. They'll be wanting to go into that as fresh as possible. And obviously with these matches, we have to get them played by a certain time, by a certain date. So there's a couple that VP still have to play, so hence why they've got to be, you know, playing them before their bigger games. It's a nice little warm-up, though, going into the next best of 3, of course. But Ivan, he'll very quickly dispatch of Snatchy. A nice little tag, actually, by Okalicious through the mid doors itself, but shouldn't be at least delivering too much for this T side. Maybe to deny the AWP, but it should get recollected anyway. I don't see any reason for Prosto to be throwing away weaponry, and especially around like this. And as Flaric already taking down Mihu, Veggie at least to catch a shot in return. A little overconfident out of Flaric. You're against 5 Deagles. You've got to be careful. But either way, going to get themselves a chance to head toward a bomb site. 2 men splitting toward A, although Yekindar, he'll very easily take out Veggie. There's no challenge whatsoever in that one. And as Ivan closes out Okalicious, a simple cleanup by Nickelback. 4-0 and a solid start out of Prosto thus far. Although with the first gun round to come, or at least first proper gun round anyway, that'll be where we now see the bigger buy round out of Virtus Pro. The chance for them to give themselves a solid set of weaponry. Even a double AWP setup on this T side. Fair enough. Maybe there is the fact that Big are watching this game, potentially wanting to be reviewing the last minute demos and VODs of this side. Well, Big don't particularly see themselves as a Dust 2 team themselves. They've had a couple of results on it. Most recently, I think. But they're not particularly as strong of a Dust 2 team as some of their other maps. They've lost quite a few games. I think they won at Sprout yesterday, which I think is always a solid way to do things. I just realized that for some reason Esea put the music on this scene, so we'll remove that because we don't want to be starting the music during the broadcast. All right, my bad. Not too sure why Esea would want us to play music in game, but fair enough. We'll roll with it. Either way, in a 3 versus 5. Snatchy going to be closing down Ivan. That essentially secures the first round for VP. And as Mihu does take down Nickelback, wanting to ensure that the save of any AWP does not happen. If they can hunt down Kenzor as well, they should be looking to do so, just because they've got all 5 of their players alive, and he's down to 30. So you at least want to be going into this trying to deny the final rifle, right? But even so, Prosto going to be able to keep their record clean. But that T side, it's a really successful round for them. They've got themselves a first on the board, and they did it without losing a single player, which is always the best way to win a round. You keep all of that money alive, you can buy into your grenades again, you can keep hold of your weapons, there's no upgrades to be made, and especially because VP have a double AWP setup. That's like $9,000, $10,000 just on its own. So, you know, that's a lot of money to be spending, and Okalicious, well, he'll find 2, not before me who kills off his own teammate. That's a little unfortunate. Potentially provides an avenue of interception out of Prosto now that they have a man less to work with. And there's beautiful shot by Ivan. He'll be able to close out Mihu, but it's Snatchy that's able to get the job done. Relatively simple in this round either way, as Veggie to find himself one more. And so, Kenzor, once again in a 1 versus X scenario. But Veggie, he wants the kill. He wants to finally deny the save of this final man. Snatchy's prepared for it as well if he was to head up towards short, which definitely might be a chance for him to work with. He does have a defuse kit as well, but obviously with 3 AWPs in the hands of this T side, I'm not too sure why, but I love it. It's just one of those where it's like VP at this point, they're just like memeing almost. But obviously that is going to be a 4-2. Nice little couple of rounds by VP in concession as well. The worst part for this T side would be winning a round, giving Prosto a couple, back down to an eco, purchasing loot, winning maybe 1 or 2 more. You've got to be able to make rounds in consecutive fashion. You can't be allowing any breaks in the circuit almost, especially on a T side of Dust 2. And this time it's going to see Prosto once again going to be having a single rifle. Kenzor makes light work of Mihu, but a very swift trade and Okalicious. I think he's been one of the better players for Virtus Pro since he came into the squad. He was very unproven when he first joined the side. He came from Euronics. He had pretty bad statistics, and I think even he'd admit that as well. His statistical performances before Virtus Pro were really nothing that were mesmerizing. But I think it was the fact that they wanted to try some new blood. They wanted to bring in someone brand new. And whilst there's players around the CS scene of Poland, maybe bringing in a player like a Goofy, or someone like that, a Patatek, who, you know, is settled into his Akko Bors, but if you got a call up to Virtus Pro, you're not really going to turn it down, are you? But I think Okalicious, once he's settled into the side, he's become a very solid player. He's been one of the more consistent fraggers on the VP side. He's played decent on LAN as well at the ESL Polish Championships. But obviously they'll be featuring at Mocha XL 2019 as well, which is going to be a very interesting event. Obviously, myself and Overseer will be on the commentary duty for the English broadcast of the 75k LAN, where we'll get to see, you know, the likes of Furia and Big, Virtus Pro in there as well. Ooh, Nickelback, however, picking himself up that secondary AWP. It works out for him, finding him a couple. The one thing I love about Prosto is they interchange their snipers so regularly. There's Yekindar, who takes the AWP on a couple of maps, with Ivan as a secondary. But then on a map like Dust 2, we got Ivan and Nickelback. I love it. They're constantly able to keep their opponents on their toes just because they're constantly changing the AWPs. And obviously, each individual AWP is not going to have the same playstyle as their teammates. So it keeps Prosto in a pretty decent position. And again, able to get another round on the CT side. This time, Okalicious straight out toward Long. Finds himself a first kill. Yekindar doesn't know what hit him there. And it seems like VP, they'll turn up the pace a little bit. Already up towards short. Kenzor to reply with a trade, but it's Veggie once again able to respond. Gets himself another trade as well, keeping the man advantage in the favor of Virtus Pro. And up to now, looking pretty solid. Going to be seeing that CT side again, down into a save. Unfortunate that Prosto again have been put down to this sort of situation, but VP on a T side. Especially considering this is a map where they haven't yet won it. That's what makes it more interesting. Because obviously, VP know that this isn't one of their strongest maps. You know, they've had some okay results on it. A 16-13 against Valiance, but they lost like 7 rounds at the end of the game in itself, so that wasn't particularly as comfortable as they would like. Look at Ivan. Oh my gosh. He allows 2 players to cross. He shuts them both down. And Okalicious, he's able to trade those. Same for Veggie. Luckily, they don't let that round go to waste. That would have been monumental if Prosto would have won that round. Are they strong on any map? They're a decent nuke side. They've had some ups and downs on that map as well. Mirage is okay for them. The thing is with Virtus Pro, which is what worries me for the LAN that's coming up, is they have a lot of okay maps, but there's not one that is, you know, the creme de la creme, the best of the best. Whilst that might work in their favor, oh my god, Veggie might actually win this round, you know. Of course he does. Nice little tap to finish. But that's the thing. VP have a lot of okay maps, but there's not one that shines out as strongly as the rest. You know, they're decent on Nuke. They've played a couple of games of Vertigo. They're okay on Mirage. I think if they strengthen their map pool, if they bring in one map, what you're like, okay, wow, this is their best map, and they go undefeated, that's where they get a lot better. But for right now, their map pool is average. It's not anything astounding. But the thing about VP is they do have some incredible players that, when they're on their good days, can just turn up and boss an entire game. And much like this, Localicious and Snacks, it's also Snatchy. Bringing in a nice little piece of the pie. And obviously with VP going into the major or the minor qualifier right now, they're obviously going to be pumped up and ready. Probably one of the organization's biggest days coming up. Obviously, since the downfall of the Golden Five. This Prosto is even worse than VP. Yeah, I've got to say, I'm not a fan of this new Prosto lineup. It's not been as impressive as when they had Artist. Which, for me, if you make changes to a side, they either have to have incredibly strong solo performances, making them a great addition to the side off of the bat, or they have to gel straight away with the side and increase their game by like 20%. Nickelback just saw an AWP just fly right over to him. And there's Okalicious. Nice little frag to close down. But yeah, I've not been as invested in this new Prosto. Obviously, with Def out of the roster. An Artist as well, bringing in Kenzor back from the bench and Nickelback from Monolith after they disbanded. It's been just average. I've not seen anything impressive out of them. Artist, for me, was a strong player. And I think Prosto have lost an incredible asset. Even with the loss of Csgo back in, what, April, May? No. March? February? When he went to, no, probably way earlier. When did Csgo go to Namiga? Because right now, Csgo has been, like, a shining player in Namiga. I think he went, like, last year sometime. But since then, it's like Prosto, they've brought in artists. They've had players on trial, but no one's been standout. And now look at Namiga. Made it into the closed qualifier, or the minor for the CIS minor. And this time, Virtus Pro, they're going to be losing this round. From by the looks of things, an entire pistol eco. And with 40 seconds on the clock, it's down to Snatchy, AWP in hand, but they've gifted 3 rifles to this CT side. And that's going to be a simple 6-6 tied up here. Ivan to finish. And so this time Prosto, now that they have all that good utility off of the back of that eco victory. Oh, look at Yekindar. Oh, I love it. Nice little piece of aggression shown toward top middle. Snatchy does respond quickly, but it's the idea that was there. Did pay off for a frag as well and give them some very valid information. Still this time though, Prosto playing more of a 2-on-2 setup, leaving mid completely open for the taking. And fair enough, it's a pretty valid setup, considering the fact that Prosto, they're going to go aggro inside of tunnels. This should be Okalicious. Surely taking a couple of kills. He finds a first at least. Again, it is Nickelback that's able to close down. This will see Virtus Pro heading up toward that B bomb site though through a mid split. And this is something that Nickelback might not be able to hold off right here. Oh, I think he's got an information out of Ivan, though, and this could really work out. There it is. Nickelback, as he closes down one, he's waiting for the repeat, and it comes for him. Ooh, Snatchy. Oh, my God. Snatchy, how do you survive that? Well, they know where the final man is as well. They've got the eyes locked on Ivan. I'm not too sure how Snatchy survived that. Somehow he does. Obviously down to a single point of health, but come on. As soon as you've got a player with his back turned, that's a simple kill. That should be nothing else other than a kill. Go. As of course, 7-6. It's going to be Virtus Pro that have themselves a lead yet again. Of course, wanting to make sure that at least they confirm the first half. If they win this round, they most likely go 9-6 as well, which I think for a T side is going to be a very, very confident scoreline. But look at Yekindar right now. Already pushed up toward top middle. And a beautiful first kill to enter. Still is Nickelback back at a bomb site. Saved by the Molotov somehow. Not burning as it spread under his feet. Flarich is there for one of his own as well. And Snatchy, well, he'll get... Oh, Flarich. There it is. A nice little double grenade to close down. And that's a 7-7. Prosto, somehow, this is going to make sure that they at least stay competitive in this first half. If they'd have lost that one, that was a 9-6 for sure. Their economy was in the dirt. But this time, VP, they're not able to close out the round yet again. And that's going to see at least a 7-7. Nice tag by Snatchy, though. And ensuring that damage is at least given early phase of the round. Again, Yekindar is able to exploit the peek out of VP. And it provides an initial kill, but Mihu to respond with one of his own at least. Snatchy to again close down a very vital player of PRO100. A peek out of window. Kenzo, balls of steel, still committing to the spray as well. But a good adjustment by Snatchy at least. Takes it back into a 3v2, and Snatchy just proving why that AWP is such a valid asset. There it is. A perfect 3k to close out the half, and VP, they do take victory. An 8-7 to finish, and that'll see that CT side going with 1 round advantage into this second half. In all fairness, a solid display out of both sides. Just to one of those maps where you either see a very close half, like an 8-7 or a 9-6, or it's an absolute whitewash of an 11-4, 12-3. But this time, obviously, with the, some of the mistakes that both teams did make. We've got to be a little cautious. But yeah, with Snatchy on fine form, like you say, Snatchy's one of those players where it's very hit or miss with him. We discussed this, myself and my co-caster, during the UCC Summer Smash, I believe it was, where Snatchy has no middle ground. He's either missing a lot of shots and not particularly having too much impact, or he's incredible. There's never really no difference or no middle ground between his plays. Like, he's either hitting mad flicks and getting 30 bombs, or he's not really having too much of a good game. He'll be finding maybe 5, 6, 7 kills. And so, pistol round to begin, of course, and that'll see PRO100 heading out toward a long. I like the split that they've gone for with all 5 players up toward a long, but Mihu, again, that aggressive short approach going to work out for him with the first kill onto Flarich, but Kenzor at least to deny in return. And down into a 4 versus 4. Fairly simple. Yekindar, however, taking out Veggie from up towards short. It's Snatchy that's able to respond with one of his own. Does get dropped down to 45, and that forces him into a little bit of a passive play. Had to give up the bomb site, but maybe for the greater good. They can play for the retake, but with no defuse kit on any players whatsoever. This is going to make the retake just that little bit more difficult, and as Ivan locks out Okalicious, that all but confirms the round itself. However, with Snatchy to close down Nickelback, they've got to play pretty safely right now. A single man towards short, 1 toward a long. I like the setup, ensuring that they've got 2 angles of fire, as Ivan takes out Snatchy. That P250 going to be rattling headshots. But with Snacks able to trade, time already far gone. And Yekindar able to close out the round. 8-8 and tied up this early on that second half. We'll see PRO100 at least able to purchase into this round. But Virtus Pro, infamous VP, the force buy to come. This is what they do for the majority of their rounds when they do lose the pistol. They take that force buy, especially on a CT side. We've got some nice little scout players in the mix here. And yeah, my native language is English, considering that I've lived in the UK my entire life. I would hope it is. Still, Nickelback, as he's able to take down a first at least. Not that it particularly matters. The round itself should be fairly simply going to PRO100. Snacks, though. Okay. Just as you do. That's just a Snacks thing right there. A shot through the door that sees a nice little scout kill go in his favor. Placed a grenade onto Kenzor as well. Some decent damage being done right here. And oh my gosh. As Snacks finds one more. This now makes life very difficult for PRO100. They've got Nickelback at least in defense, however. And a spam through the door. Snacks a little bit of medicine of his own. And Flarich will spam Mihu inside of the smoke. 9-8, that T side going to take the advantage. And all in all, a pretty solid start.
Terrorists win.
And here we go. Virtus Pro going to now find themselves at a very good position. VP, of course, down to an eco this time. A single scout in the hands of Snatchy. It's going to be nothing demanding. Still, Virtus Pro, providing that they stay relevant in this game in the first gun round, they should be okay. But failing to win the first gun round on a CT side essentially puts you back down to square one, which, as we all know, economy is a massive dictator of what happens in games like these. So if Virtus Pro cannot afford buy rounds, if they can't afford to be investing into those AWPs, the utility, the defuse kit, oh, Snacks even lands himself a knife onto Kenzor. Getting a couple of kills in this eco round actually really scares me for Prosto. I mean, luckily they should be able to close out the round, but losing 2 in an eco like this where you're against a single scout is probably a really bad thing to happen. And what do you know? Just as we say it, they even get a Zeus kill, for God's sake. They even get a Zeus. I'm so confused. Prosto, you can't be losing rounds like that. It just can't happen. You can't afford to be losing a round like that, where Virtus Pro were able to retake. They had pistols, for God's sake. They had a scout. Like, please. I have no words. 9-9. Prosto, they'll be tying it up. And VP, they're right back in this now. Because that T side, they've gone for that force buy, and they kind of had to. Yeah, a knife, a Zeus, a crazy scout shot, and a pistol killer all in the same round. That's just something we never see. But apparently we do now. This is going to start to get like a real interesting game here. Just missed clip. Probably check Reddit in like 2.5 minutes. It'll be up there somewhere. And Ivan, I don't know what's happening. Guys, are we in an alternate universe right now? Prosto, they've got themselves onto the bomb site. Ivan putting down the plant, and Yek and he'll find one of his own as well. Oh boy, this game is so back and forward right now. I am so confused. Prosto, they'll find themselves around in reply already. And here it is. What's happening if VP 1500 is still playing? I guess they'll be a little late. I'm not too sure. Yeah, the next game will be delayed like 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Although, with No Chance Heroic going to 3 maps. Virtus.pro Big will be delayed anyway, because there's obviously 14 minutes till the next game, but it's on the main stream, so they've got to wait for No Chance Heroic to finish. So, luckily for VP, it didn't end 2-0, or else they might be a little late. But I think they'll easily be safe, just because NC Heroic's been delayed. Oh, not delayed. They've just played 3 maps. So, yeah, there's no issues about that. It kind of works well for VP as well, because now they've got at least 45 minutes, an hour after this game. So they can cool down. Oh, Ivan and Flarich, jeez. That's a way to enter around itself. Veggie, his response literally shows nothing as Flarich takes him down again. And a 4 versus 1 that sees Virtus.pro 11-9, and now on that CT side, they have no economy whatsoever. Ocalicious to at least find a kill of his own, but shouldn't be lasting all that long as Kenzor is there to finish. And at this point, it now gets really interesting, because with VP going for their eco, of course they'll be able to purchase in the next round. This is obviously going to be 12-9. But it gets so hard if they lose this. Because if VP lose the next gun round, that's all but confirming 14-9. So victory is almost required, is necessary in the next round. And as of course, they're already onto the bomb site, Veggie burning in the Molotov up towards short. VP have like an hour until their next game, don't worry. There's no issues with timing or anything like that. Not to fear. So, 12-9 it is. And this is where it comes down to it. VP have to win this round, or else we see Prosto going up to at least 14-9. The next VP game starts in 11 minutes. Because No Chance Heroic has gone to 3 maps, it delays it by probably 45 minutes at least. I'm pretty sure that's how it worked when I was casting the minors, like last week. So I assume they're playing with a similar setup, because one caster can't cast 2 games, unfortunately. Although it seems like this time, Virtus.pro, they've finally delivered. They've been able to ensure that the round goes in their favor, bag themselves at least double figures. And that was what they needed, realistically, to get them back into the draw. But it's going to be at least difficult, because Prosto still have plenty of money. Meanwhile, Virtus.pro, they'll be back down to a couple of players on very little. Still able to keep that double AWP setup alive, which I think is one of the strongest aspects for VP, especially if Snatchy's having a good game, can be supported by Snacks himself. Even a scout onto Okalicious, though, which is interesting. Nickelback, he'll try and get inside of underpass. Or lower tunnel. Want to break out through towards short, potentially. 2 players of VP situated toward close stairs, which I kind of like. Just because of how much info you can gather. Will they boost up Snatchy, though? Would have loved to seen him boosted with that AWP. But it doesn't look like that is something that'll happen. Still, though, with 40 seconds on the clock, or at least approaching. Snatchy. He'll be able to find an initial kill on to Nickelback. Kenzor was tagged through short door as well. Makes it a little bit more difficult. 25 on the clock to go, and PRO100, they're going to have to execute the bomb site now. Straight through that molly, but look at this. Oh, Yekindar, he's even wise to the goose position. A frag in his favor, though. And as Veggie takes out one more, it's all done and dusted. Flaric into a 1 versus 3, and it's Veggie that's able to finish. 12 to 11, and VP, they put themselves right back into this game now. The VP game has been delayed until 15:30 as well, just to let you guys know. No chance they've just started their new map on against Heroic, so it shouldn't be too long. Mihu, nice little 3k. They have gone for that buy round, of course, and it seems like PRO100, it's not going to pay off yet again. Ooh, Ivan at least able to refrag onto Snatchy. Kenzor dropped down to 65, however. Still 55 on the clock and plenty of time for VP to rat out these final players. With Kenzor and Ivan, AWP in hand, that's going to at least slow him down a little bit. Just ultimately making their life harder on this T side. Wouldn't be too surprised if they were just to go for the save at this point. With no real way to win this round, it's Virtus.pro that tie things up at a 12 to 12. Do you think VP will take a map against Big? They should do. Depending how the veto goes. If they get a map like a Dust 2 or a nuke potentially, I think they have a very solid chance.
Counter-terrorists win.
But obviously these guys just faced off very recently, which was a game on Mirage. And it was Virtus.pro that were able to take a 16-11 victory. Once again, Veggie. Oh, he even spots that. How does he stay alive in that position? Surely he should be dead. Luckily, Yekindar to take him down, but it doesn't matter. Kenzor into a 1 versus 3, and he's down to 27. I love the top comment of the HLTV match pages. VP versus PRO100 1400. Oh shit, here we go again. HLTV comments can sometimes be great. But there we go. That's going to see Prosto down in the dirt. Honestly, yeah, VP are trash on Dust too. Like, this is just them on autopilot and with the advantage of the CT side. They aren't as pertinent on this map as others. And a pistol Kevlar purchase to come. It snacks the first to fall though, Flarich. Beautiful first shot to... Oh, Flarich, okay. He'll find himself a second as well. That makes the life of VP way more difficult here. Still as Snatchy is able to trade. It's Yekindar again. That provides one more. It's down to a 3 versus 2 now. Nickelback already onto the bomb site. Has the Kevlar to work with. Uses Flarich with the bait, and that's beautiful. That's the round in itself, and a 13-13 that sees VP tied up again. And this is now where it gets super difficult. And with that, it is going to be Virtus Pro. Given a 13-13, this game going down to the wire. Virtus Pro got a lot of games today. I just realized they are having like an actual marathon today. They're playing this best of 1. Then, of course, they go on to face Big. And then at 7 o'clock, they're playing Havu. Then at 8 o'clock, they're playing Ago. And then at 9 o'clock, they're playing XCOM. It's like, dude, these guys are playing so many games right now. It's crazy. Still, Nickelback. He's able to at least trade the kill onto Snacks after Mihu's double. But it's Okalicious. And Mihu as well, that makes sure the round goes in their favor. Snatchy, beautiful shot onto Ivan. A 14-13 VP. They take the lead yet again. A reinvestment out of Prosto, where if they lose this round, they probably lose the game as well. And that'll see Prosto already having to play super defensively. Flashbang out towards short, at least seeing a fallback of that CT side. They're not going to fully commit to this short position as of yet. Want to remain as safe as possible. And up to now, it's at least going to see Prosto seriously weakened. Just in this round itself, a couple of Desert Eagles, a sincere lack of utility across the majority of players. It's just going to make their life harder. Still, Yekindar as he edges his way toward the bomb site. Oh, Snacks, what have you just done, you absolute monster? Well, unfortunately, there is the game in itself. A 15-13, and with little time in this round, Prosto, they will have no money have very little to work with in the next round. And that might just be victory. You can already see the buy round while still keep hold of that AWP. Yekendar's down to the Galil. Nickelback on a Desert Eagle. Kenzor, he can buy an AK and Kevlar, but can't have anything with it. But does at least get given the rifle. And this now gets so risky. Oh, Veggie though. Over aggressive. Snacks, he's been tagged as well, I assume, by the AWP of Ivan. And look at Snatchy. He has to be careful. And again, too over aggressive. Mihu luckily to clean up the slack though. And as Kenzor does get forced back, look at A Long, it's been breached. And Mihu, he will not be aware of it. And as Snacks will fall as well, it's down to Okalicious. And with that T side going to be most likely taking themselves up to a 14th round, it goes to the final round of regulation. And there is a chance of overtime right now. And this is what gets so incredibly dangerous. Because Virtus Pro, we know they've been in positions like this before where they've gotten close to closing out matches but just haven't been able to do so.
Terrorists win.
Most notably, that 16-13 against Izako Boars, where they still had a solid 10 rounds, or 8 rounds, sorry, to battle on that T side, but just couldn't get the job done. And here we go. It comes down to this. The buy round is so minimalistic. We should be going to overtime right now. There should be no other way about this, just because Virtus Pro, they are down in the dumps at this point, and you can really tell they've adjusted their setup massively to compensate for the weaknesses. But as Snatchy able to land the initial kill of the round at least. Yekendar shut down, one of the stronger players for Prosto in this map so far. Watch me say that, and he's now at the bottom of the leaderboard. Yeah, he's sitting mid-table, doing decently. Oh, but look at Veggie. UMP, close range. Rapid fire will work in his favor, but the AK, of course, the ultimate accuracy. Best thing right now for VP is they are running the clock down, but they should be sending that man through towards CT spawn there. Mihu should be on the rotate almost instantly. And that'll even see a retreat out. Oh my god, Veggie. And Snatchy doing all the work right now as he drops the bomb. That might be the game in itself. And my gosh. Virtus Pro, they've confirmed it. A 16-14 that sees the victory going in the favor of the Poles. They will keep themselves in regulation. They'll find the victory. And there it is. Ladies and gentlemen, with that being said, that is the end of our coverage for now. Although, we will be live later on in the evening, in around an hour's time, where we will see alternate attacks taking on Vitality. Obviously, a very interesting game considering they are currently 4th in the world. And that'll be a very interesting match to see. But with that being said, that is going to be the end for us today. Or at least for my coverage anyway. We might be live with me again later. with the... I'm trying to think what game it is. Probably the final two Virtus Pro matches, actually. We might finish off with those, with Virtus Pro versus Csgo and Virtus Pro versus XCOM. But we'll see how things go anyway. We will catch you all in around 55 minutes time for the start of our second best of one of the day. If you would like to hit me up with a follow on Twitter, you can definitely do so with my link right there. Make sure to follow this Twitch channel as well to never miss one of our broadcasts. And with that being said, we'll catch you all very soon for the start of game number 2.